It has power, style, and undoubtedly the best takedowns in the game. Welcome to my guide for the Bouncer class. Hi, what's going on, Saviors? GH here. We're gonna go straight to the point, so let's do this. Now, Bouncer skills. First we have here is defeat PP gain. This gives you extra PP when enemies are defeated near you. Next over here is defeat amplifier, and this makes downing an enemy much faster. Third skill here is partial destroy advantage. This increases your damage and decreases the damage you take depending on how many enemy part is destroyed. Next is physical decline. This makes downing an enemy faster when you use photon arts on enemies. And keep in mind that this only works with Soaring Blades and you need to be a Bouncer main class. Now this one over here is the elemental equivalent of physical decline, and it's elemental decline. It makes an elemental down happens much faster when you use photon arts on targets, and it can only be used by jet boots, and you need to be a Bouncer main class. Now next over here is decline amplifier, which increases the effect of physical and elemental decline. Get this. Then we got Bartablot here, which stacks up these insignias on enemies when you attack with uncharged elemental attacks in Ice Elemental Jet Boost Photon Arts, as you see right here. And at the maximum stack of Ice insignias, when you use a charged Barta on an enemy, it will then be consumed and deal extra damage. Now, Zondiclad here, it's pretty much the same but for the lightning element. And the indicator that your charge attack will deal extra damage is this purple lightning circle around you. Now, what we have here is the Soaring Blade skills. And this one is Fanatic Blade, which increases weapon action damage and fire rate. This is a pretty nifty skill because it gives you a decent range attack, and it can be further improved by maxing the next skill, which is Fanatic Blade Augment, which basically increases the number of photon blades thrown at the enemy. Next here is Photon Blade PP Recovery, which increases PP gained when normal attacking enemies hit by photon blades. Now to the Jet Boost sides of skills. First we got here is Jet Attack Extra, which gives one additional final attack to your basic attack combo. Here it is. 1, 2, 3 and the final attack. Now down here is Jet Intensity. As a bouncer, this is one of your most important skill. And to explain it, I figure I'll just show it. So when you have Jet Intensity, holding the basic button will initiate a slow attack that eventually gets faster. And when it reaches its max speed, it will then unleash an overpowered attack that makes the slow weak attack preparation worth it. But keep in mind that you can be interrupted while speeding up. Next skill here to the side is Boot Trick Bounce Counter. This will add an auto attack after a successful counter, and when you press the basic attack button again, it will do another counter. Then further to the right is Thrust Drive, which gives you the ability to dash towards the enemy no matter the elevation after using an elemental attack. And to be more clear, to dash, you must press the basic attack button when the purple light blinks right after an elemental attack. Here is a sample. Now back up over here is Elemental Set. This is your primary Jet Boot skill. And what it does is it gives your Photon Arts an extra elemental attack after using any elemental attack. You can have Ice, Fire, Lightning, Photon Arts. And the indicator is the color of the rings on your boots. And then finally, Jet Sweep Jolt. It's your special attack for jet boots that builds up when you attack. And there goes the skills. If you're interested in my skill tree, here it is. Now let's start with the bouncer weapons. Jet Boots and Soaring Blades. Jet Boots is a melee weapon with the ability to imbue its photon arts with the last elemental attack it used, and it can focus on enemies like no other with the use of jet intensity, and because of that, it's great for single target. Now Jet Boots has 4 photon arts. First is the weapon action, which is your countering ability. Second skill is Spinning Gust, which drives you forward as you attack, and if you hold it, it will then execute a final kick at the end and consume more PP. Third skill here is Violent Gale, which does slash combos at the front if you quick tap it, and when you hold it, it will then do a final kick that deals damage and launches you back. Now you may find it undesirable, but using Spinning Gust after that will help you get closer. Now final Jet Boot skill is Fierce Wave. It does a lingering slash that deals damage when enemies come in contact with it. And when you hold Fierce Wave, it will then execute an additional slash attack that will further deal damage. Soaring Blades time. Now, Soaring Blades is another melee option for Bouncer, but this one specializes on downing enemies with the use of physical decline. And of the two Bouncer weapons, Soaring Blades excels more on area attacks, and oddly enough, it boasts a few decent range photon arts. Now, it has 4 photon arts. First is weapon action, which is a photon blade throw. As it is, it's not good. But with Fanatic Blade active, it turns into one of your best photon art because Fanatic Blade increases its damage and fire rate. And Fanatic Blade Augment increases the number of photon blades thrown up to a maximum of 6, which results in a pretty amazing range attack. Second photon art here is Destructive Stork. At one press, this is your best AoE attack as a Bouncer. It's high damage and covers a wide area, and when you hold it, it turns into a vertical slash attack that's more suited for single target. Third photon art is Rampaging Harrier. At a press of a button, it will execute a slash combo that ends with photon blades raining down on an enemy. And if you hold Rampaging Harrier, it will then execute a range attack. Here is a sample. Now, fourth and final photon art is Roaring Peasant. At a press of a button, it's a cool mobility photon art that deals damage to anything it hits. Yes, it's cool and fun, but it isn't exactly what you would use all the time. Now if you hold it, it will turn into a spinning attack that doesn't move you forward, making it a much more viable way of using it. Multi-weapon guide for Bouncer. As always, multi-weaponing a wired lance is a good idea because it gives you the ability to get closer to your enemies and it doesn't consume any PP. And if your subclass can use wired lance, you will have access to awesome area attacks. Another one that you can pick is Talus. By multi-weaponing a Talus to your Bouncer weapons, you will have the ability to use the Talus weapon action photon art that summons a Talus that auto-attacks enemies and recovers you some PP. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Now, subclass for Bouncer. My first pick is Fighter because Fighter can give you a passive damage increase on downed enemies, and since Bouncer is great at it, Fighter will be nice. Second option is Force because of PP recovery, and it has a skill that will help you regenerate PP much more faster. Another option is Gunner because it increases your PP recovery when basic attacking, and it also gives you the ability to wield a rifle that can use homing darts, which is the best multi-targeting attack in the game. And that's Bouncer. Overall, they did a good job on balancing it, and I must say that using jet boots is fun. Soaring Blades on the other hand feels like I've used it, even though it's a new weapon. And that's my Bouncer guide. I hope this helps, and if you like the video, hit the thumbs up so that the YouTube algorithm will actually show it to people. I mean PSO2 New Genesis players. And of course, please share and then subscribe to be part of the gaming hardcore family. And as always, this is Gaming Hardcore. See you in the next one.